we are going to do the direct antiglobulin test. We have two patients, or they suspect they may have sensitized cells in their in vivo. Now, we have a patient 1 and patient 2. Now, what we did, we brought the patient in EDTA, we washed the cells, and we did make it 2%, 2 to 5% dilution. We made 3% dilution here and 3% dilution. Now, and we have 20% albumin, and of course, the famous anti-human globulin. So what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to label patient 1, P1, P1 control, patient 2, patient 2 control. Now, as the manual says, start with patient 1, 2 drops of anti-human globulin for patient 1, and 2 drops of albumin in the control. The same goes, 2 drops for anti-human globulin for patient 2, and 2 drops for the control 2. Now, two drops of patient 1 and 2 drops of patient 1 in the control, 2 drops of patient 2, 2 drops of patient 2 in the control, 2, mix it, centrifuge it, at 3400 degrees, at 3400 RPM. Patient 1. Now we took the patient of this is a patient 1 control, patient 2, and patient 2 control. Let's start with patient 1. We always start with the control because the control has always been negative. Look at the patient 1. That's patient 1. Control. There is nothing, no agglutination whatsoever. Patient 1. No, remember, I have to dislodge it. This is a patient 1. This is negative and negative. أصبح patient 1 negative and the control is negative. Patient 2 control. You can see negative. And patient 2, you can tell there is some agglutination, a clear background, and it's a clear positive. So how do you do interpretation? Now, patient 2 positive, definitely the RBCs of the, since patient 2 is positive and the control is negative, so we can do interpretation. Patient 2 definitely has sensitized cells in vivo, because all we have to do is we brought his cells directly from his body, we washed it, and we added anti-human globulin. We didn't do anything else, and agglutinated. Since the control is negative, there must be a sensitized cells agglutinated with anti-human globulin. Now, for number 1, negative, negative. You know, we always negative mean that's not sensitized. But as we said in the explanation, before we rush to declare it that's not sensitized, we have to keep the patient incubated at room temperature for 5 minutes and spin it maybe because the complement it takes anti-human globulin with the complement it takes time to agglutinate. So after 5 minutes we will spin again and see how it goes. Now these here have been sitting here for 5 minutes. Patient 1, we did it before. I'm gonna spin them and see how it goes. After incubation at room temperature for 5 minutes, if it's negative, it means negative. You can tell the control and the patient 1 are still negative. So, what did we say? Yes, every time we got a negative Coombs test like this, we have to check the anti-human globulin, that's if it's working or not. Maybe the anti-human globulin is not working. Now in this case, we may or may not have to check it because we have remember, we did it in patient 2, and the patient 2 was positive. That means the anti-human globulin is working. But assuming you are only having 1 patient, you don't have 2 patients, and you get negative here. So how do you know the anti-human globulin is not working or is working? If it's not working, it's going to give you negative. All you have to do is, since we have anti-human globulin here and we have anti-human globulin here, we have to add to each of the tubes 2 drops of check cells. 2 drops what? It's check cells. And if the anti-human globulin here is working with the check cells that are sensitized cells, we know that these are sensitized cells. We buy them from the company as sensitized cells. We know that for sure. Now we add 2 drops here, 2 drops here, and we should get a positive control with anti-human globulin. I am spinning now. Finish. Look at the positive test for the control, meaning the anti-human globulin is working, and this positive test for the patient, see, mean the anti-human globulin is working. So we did the check cells, or what you call it, CCC in your case, and the CCC, the anti-human globulin is working, and we do interpretation. Patient 1 is negative, is not sensitized in vitro, and patient 2 is positive, it is sensitized, the RBC are sensitized in vivo. I said vitro is vivo, vivo, vivo.